Hi folks, today we're going to be taking a look at the Hultafors Agdor felling axe 1.2 kilogram. So I've had this axe lurking around at the back of my workshop for maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that. I bought it after I saw it recommended by Ben in one of his earlier videos, and obviously I saw it as a bit of a project. You know, everyone knows that the handles are pretty thick. The grind doesn't really come that well done, and it also doesn't have a mask, so it was always going to be a project axe. So this video we're going to be taking a look at what I did to bring it up to scratch and a little bit of use, and then also any feedback you guys can give me would be useful. So just to clarify which axe this is, it's the Hultafors Agdor, and this one they call it the felling axe, and 1.2, you can maybe make it out 1.2 kgs, which I think 2¼ maybe. So essentially a boy's axe or forest axe size. So what I've done so far really is just I marked out the facets that I wanted to take off. So I've been using the Shinto rasp at the moment to take down the bulk of it. It moves a lot of material quite quickly. They're really good, these Shinto rasps. I've also been using this cabinet maker's rasp with a curved profile. It's quite good for the curves here. So I'm certainly not a pro at this, but what I've found, just to maintain consistency, I've been working in planes. So I've in a flat plane on this side, and then likewise on the back and the belly. But if you work in planes, you're more likely to keep them even on both sides. As I say, I'm not a pro, so maybe the pros do it much more quickly and efficiently another way. But for me, working in planes, then I can just take off the facets that you create when I've got the desired shape and thickness. So that's the process I'm using at the moment. I'm just going to take a little bit more off this profile to make it a bit thinner. I think the overall shape's not too far off now from what I'd like, but certainly the sides I'm going to do a bit more, and then I'll go in and shape those facets a bit more. So I just spent about half an hour blending all the facets in with this cabinet maker's rasp. I think the main thing I was trying to achieve was just getting rid of any hot spots. So just blending in each facet, and I was just running my hand along it quite often just to check whether there were any flat spots or anything I could feel, and then just removing those. But anyway, I think it's at the point now where I'm fairly happy with it. Possibly could be a bit thinner, but as it's sort of my early days, always reluctant to go too thin, I guess. So I went from 80 grit to 120 grit, and that sort of feels almost smooth enough for me. I don't know what other people think about sandpapering or sanding the axe handle. I know some people like them quite rough, but I don't know, it just feels quite nice with 120 grit sanding. So I'm probably going to stop there and put some oil on it now. You can see why some people might be reluctant to start doing this with a Grant saws. So they just spend a lot of money on their axe, and then they spend the next 2 hours removing most of the material off the handle. Most of my handle is now sitting all over my workshop. So I'm just putting some permanent marker onto the blade to see where I'm removing material, just as a bit of a guide for me. Anyway, so I had to go with my usual spruce, dead full spruce, so it is quite hard, but that's pretty much all I have around here at the moment to practice bucking on. But it did function okay, split fairly well. I'm not convinced that I've got the grind right. Well, I'm pretty sure I haven't. I didn't show much of the grind in the video, my grinding, because I'm not a pro, and it was just really showing how I went about it. But definitely need to work on the grind. I've actually nicked the edge as well, so I must have put too fine a grind on the tip, and not taken enough off the cheeks maybe. I think that's definitely the case, but you might be able to see there's a nick out of the edge there, which is not great, but it's not deep, so I should be able to get it out. But definitely appreciate any tips, or if you can direct me to any good videos on grinding for a good edge, probably for a multi-purpose, because I know it's a boy's axe, felling axe shape, but for me it'll be a multi-purpose style of axe, so it'll need to be able to fell, buck, split, the whole deal. So yeah, I definitely appreciate any tips on grinding. I'm pretty happy with the handle actually. It could be slightly thinner, but I quite enjoyed using it. It felt quite good, way better than the obviously stock version. And obviously the mask is a necessity, but I think really now the main thing to get right is the grind. So any suggestions or helpful tips, very much appreciated. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.